Alright, you guys, it's Kaipacho with the weekly Pele report for January 21st, 2026. I'm going to try to make it down this path, walking, talking with the camera at the same time, giving you a little bit of the astrological aspects that are active this week. It's a huge, intense, freaking week. Oh, por Dios. Yeah, because as you can see in that chart at the beginning, we have a Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Pluto conjunction happening practically all through the weekend. And then it's going to come into a square with the moon. Right now, the moon is in Pisces. Okay, it's just gone into Pisces. By Friday, it goes into Aries. And then on Sunday, Taurus. Up for the first quarter square moon at 6 degrees 14 minutes of Taurus. And it's Taurus squaring Aquarius. Both of these are fixed signs. So try to be flexible. Don't get too stubborn. Anyway, other big news. Neptune moves into the sign of Aries. Dun, 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 dun. After 165 years going around the zodiac, finally. Yeah, big shift, baby. This is the time for big shifts, as you can see in this week's mantra. So, to be exact, the Sun conjuncts Mercury today, and Mercury conjuncts Pluto tomorrow. Mars moves into Aquarius on Friday, the same day that the Sun conjuncts Pluto. Okay, so I mean, they're all right in 1, 2, 3 degrees. I'm actually going to read the Sabian symbol for the 4th degree of Aquarius. As you can see in the chart, there is, for a moment there, the Sun, Mercury, Pluto, all at 3 degrees plus of Aquarius. So, yeah. You wait till you hear that one. And then Mars actually makes it up to conjunct Pluto by next Tuesday. So, and by then, the moon is moving into Gemini. All right, well, I'm going to find a little spot down here in the river. Not in the river, on the river. And talk at you. All right, everybody. So much to talk about in today's report. So many changes going on. But I want to start out with that I'm coming to Europe. Ow! I wasn't there all last year. And I miss you guys, all my European friends. I hope to see you. I'm leaving February 16th. I'm going to be at Stilhenge in Amsterdam, where we have 10-meter tall signs made out of steel with fire breathing, and there's a huge art exhibit basically being held there. I will be talking for 3 days. 3 individual daily workshops on what's going on with Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, and Chiron, and I mean, really nailing it down. Hope you can make that. I go from there down to the Dominican Republic March 1st. Cabaret Beach, we have to celebrate. We are starting a whole new Neptune cycle of 165 years. Ow! Whew. Thank God the old one's over, if you ask me. All right, so that's going to be more around celebration and dancing and tubing and, really, I think there's a couple places left, 2 or 3 places. So check that out. And then I'm going to be coming back again in May and June, offering a workshop in Switzerland and then another one on the island of Corsica. Corsica is a day longer than the one in Switzerland if you're looking for something longer. But these retreats are in the mountains of Switzerland, on the island of Corsica, overlooking the sea. And that is a time of really celebrating Jupiter and Jupiter transitioning from Cancer into Leo. But yeah, check those out. There's links below this video for, on YouTube anyway. Not Instagram, they don't do that. Have to go to my website, check out the events and see what's going on. It would be great to see you there, and yeah, it'd be great to be in Europe again. So, and the need, I can't stress the need enough to, in a way, balance or counteract all of the online artificial intelligence, World Wide Web, scrolling and social media that brings us into our heads and up and out of our bodies into cyberspace. That so needs to be balanced and counteracted with real live conversations, emotional connections, sharing our stories and biographies, our feelings and our fears. This is where the real work happens in this inner world. And I want to talk about that inner world today because Pluto symbolizes our root chakra. He is the force of evolution, okay, in New Paradigm Astrology, evolutionary astrology, and has to do with our Kundalini energy, the life force, the chi energy, the red energy, and has to do with power and the power of transformation, death and resurrection. Okay, the snake shedding its skin. Okay, Jesus or Chiron descending into the underworld and resurrecting, renewed, just like the seeds do every winter, and then they come out and bud and blossom again in the spring. We all go through these death resurrection processes, and this is a time period now, this week, with all of the inner planets conjunct this god of the underworld whose decisions could not be changed. All the other gods up on Mount Olympus, la-da-da-da-da, Jupiter changing his mind, and, Mercury, and even Saturn, but when Pluto would say something, that was it. He's the bottom line. And what you really want to do, there's a limitation to the Pele report. I work with and share what is going on in the collective consciousness and the collective unconsciousness in terms of Neptune. But you have to look at where is 3-4 degrees Aquarius in your personal chart. Because I'll talk about Aquarius in terms of the world scene and politics, world events, scientific breakthroughs, what's going on with the politics and United Nations and all, and that is this archetype of Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Aquarius has to deal with the collective consciousness, even climate change. Uranus rules the atmosphere. Okay, Aquarius rules the atmosphere and the weather. The atmosphere and the weather is, in astrology, connected to this collective consciousness. And when we collectively are under tremendous amounts of stress, weather patterns, the outside will reflect the inside, and kabalooey. Right? We can have storms and typhoons and tidal waves and earthquakes and all kinds of things. I mean, Pluto actually rules earthquakes. But, really, it could be deathly storms. I mean, Pluto is, death, and Aquarius, the weather is storms. But anyway, where was I going with that? I'd say some of the bottom lines of Aquarius and what we're all working with now, okay, no matter where it is in the chart or this collective, where it emerges out of Capricorn. And Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, okay, it is the patriarchy, And it is the old system and the old ways of doing things, and, attaching for financial security, taking care of business, management, the CEO of the corporation, all of this going on. And when we shift into Aquarius, it is this shift towards freedom, towards liberation from the past, towards a new self, towards the future, a new paradigm. So, Pluto went in there last year, and now we've got, this huge emphasis on it right now. And a big part of that is non-attachment, breaking away from our old structures, our old security, our old identity, our old partnerships, our old job, whatever. And that transition can be a very scary pathway forward. So we can all be dealing with some inner fears. That's what the mantra for this week is about. And Pluto deals with these deep, great inner fears. They may be triggered by world events. Okay, we know silver is going up, because the currencies and the whole world situation is so unstable, and Greenland and Iran and Ukraine and Israel, and you name it, it's not stable. It's not a stable time. This is this whole thing going on, and it's going to remain. Okay, it's like you're going through a birth canal. This is a really transformative time where there's a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, a lot of instability, and it brings up a lot of fear. What to hold on to, who to hold on to, how to hold on, or let go, and then it turns into what to let go of and what to hold on to. So then there comes decisions. I want to encourage you, remember, Saturn is in the final degrees of Pisces. Neptune went into Aries. Saturn goes into Aries in a few weeks. And, these are critical weeks, but understand that we're still in a finish, close, complete. This is not a time. Wait for March. Wait for the Dominican Republic. That will be the time, to really, step into the new you, make new commitments, the new life, the bigger life, as the mantra states this week. Okay. So now it's just kind of like, it's a challenging period. Why? Because transiting Pluto works in one of 4 different ways. I think I have mentioned, these different ways, before. And of course, if you're in my school, you'll hear this over and over and over again. So funny, I was with Mantek Chia, and the old way that the Chinese taught was through repetition. And the guy would repeat himself the same thing 1,000,000 times over. And it was like, but you don't forget it. Depending upon how attached, how resistant you are to the evolutionary process, how much you resist pain, how much you resist growth is directly proportional to the amount of pain that you will experience in any given lifetime. Underline that. Yeah. When you resist change and the evolutionary process of your soul, it leads to, the result is pain. Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. The less you resist, Pluto as the force of evolution is going to bring in, that this needs to change. And it works in a number of different ways. The first way, if there is very little resistance to change, and you're like, yeah, I'm with the program. I'm going for it. I will let go. I want to just blow up like a newborn star. then you are going to have a Pluto transit, and this may be in your 4th house of home, roots, and family, your 5th house of children, or a new artwork, the 6th house of health or work, or 7th house of partnership and relationship. You have to look at where Pluto's going. Spends 20 years in Aquarius. So, whatever house it's in is getting totally remodeled. Right? Okay? And when it changes houses, it's really big too. But wherever it is now, one of the things that can happen, if you are embracing your evolutionary change, like a volcano erupting, new capacities, new skills, new potential, new power, a new sense of power, like boom, okay, can happen in your world, in your life, in yourself. Yeah. I hope that's you. But it's not all of us. Because some of us are, scared and sensitive and attached and this, that, and the other thing. So the second way that it works, if you've got a little bit of fear, okay, is very often it will come through another person, a relationship, and that person will have a profound transformative effect on your identity, on your values, maybe on your bank account, maybe on your sexual expression, maybe on your, in every way. Boom. And this can be what? For better or for worse. Yeah? Because Scorpio is about, merging, alchemically merging with another to become more than I am. But there's also that sense of being, like overpowered and feeling like powerless in the face of what I'm hypnotically attracted like a magnet to this other, relationship. So there can be this loss of self and a sense of powerlessness that brings up a lot of fears. So there can be the successful merging. Obviously, Pluto and Scorpio in the 8th house have to do with orgasm, right? One of the most beautiful, intense experiences we can physically and whole body orgasm experience, psychically. But the other downside of that is also that Pluto can also be a force beyond your control, which is another person that is challenging you. Scorpio and Pluto rule conflict. And this person could be the big bad wolf or a magician or a shaman, okay? And they are so powerful that they could, eclipse you, swallow you up, devour you. So there is also this fear, right? Of exposure, of death, of loss, and we sometimes need to stand up and confront. And this may not always just be a person. It could be the manager at the bank. It could be the tax man. Yeah. It could be a teacher. Okay. But there can be a force that a person, or even an institution that comes into your life that you better get your shit together, or you're going to get run over, used, exploited, manipulated. So Pluto transits can also, bring us to our feet and bring us to our Mars and bring us to our warrior, where we've got to get it together and defend. You know what I'm saying? The third way, if there's even more resistance, and it's like, okay, I'm going to hide out, I'm going to duck and cover, and I'm not going to trust or open to anybody. You can get into a place where it feels like The walls are closing in on you. The sky is falling, and you are getting squeezed into a tiny little box. And your world, and you are just like, oh no, stagnation, right? Like, I've got to change something. Or I'm gonna die. And then you're really forced out of your comfort zone. And of course, with the Saturn, Neptune, Pisces thing, this can also be like your support systems drop away, your job, you get dismissed, or something happens with the markets and you lose your money or whatever. I mean, it's just like, and you are forced to become more self-sufficient, self-reliant, get your act together, and and this other person or the bank or something else, is just a big, like I need to come out of my comfort zone and come into conflict. I need to make room for myself. I need to make space. Back off. Leave me alone, or get out of my life, or get out of my way, or just so yeah. Pluto and Scorpio, the 8th house. It rules. Power and powerlessness, power plays. And last but not least, it rules death. It rules removal. If you're in total resistance, I'm in this until death does me part. There can be just loss, betrayal, abandonment. Okay, issues that happen, in relationship, but it can also happen with your arm, your eye, your money, your job, your house. It just has to go. You have to, again, look at the house position of where Pluto is. This is where the deep transformation is happening for you. And this week, I give it 2 weeks. We're in it right now. And it's going to go on. Okay, and Mars, like I say, Mars doesn't come around to hit Pluto until next week. Okay, on Tuesday. And even then, after the conjunction. So, and we may see headlines, we may see war, we may see, some big tumbling of markets and changes in, shared monies and banking and everything like that also. So, this is like a very tumultuous time. We're heading down to those rapids down there, after some flat water. So, yeah, this end of a 165-year cycle is going out with a bang, isn't it? Oh my God. And it's really something. I would love to read 2 of these Sabian symbols, but I'm trying to shorten this frickin' report. Because the moon, the 7th degree of Taurus, where the moon is going to square the sun from, is the woman of Samaria at the ancestral well. Those of you with a Christian background, familiar with the Bible, may remember that Jesus met the woman of Samaria at the well. It's a really good, the meeting of the traditional past, the woman at the well, and of the creative spirit pointing to the future. A new quality of being are the key words. So there is this, bumping up against, needing to liberate ourselves from our past. And that's not always easy, like I said, but what I really want to read is, what really struck me is this 4th degree of Aquarius, where we have this huge conjunction, and Pluto is for quite some time. And in fact, I think Pluto goes up to 6 or something and may even come back to this 4th degree again this year. So, this is Pluto for a long period of time. A Hindu yogi demonstrates his healing powers. The disciplined use of spiritual energies in restoring the natural harmony that's disturbed by man's inharmonic attempts to transcend nature through mind. Feel into that a little bit. Civilization implies a process of transcending compulsive and rigid biological drives while making use in a refined and mentalized way of what it cannot control. The goal of a true, and he puts that in italics, of a true civilization, and then he puts a dash in here, Western civilization being to a large extent a caricature of it, like it's not a true civilization, it's a caricature. It's like a artificial civilization. But the goal of a true civilization is the development of a humanity composed of self-motivated and responsible individuals, freely associating according to harmonic patterns in order to produce a vast spiritual chord of consciousness, fully actualizing the potentialities inherent in the archetype man. That's a mouthful. The process of individualization, which is ruled by Uranus and Aquarius, and civilization, Aquarius, is full of dangers. And for a very long time, it is obsessed by karmic shadows, the results of individual and collective deviations and perversions. Such results most often lead to disease. It is the spiritual duty of individuals who have been able to tap the vast reservoir of spiritual forces pervading our planet to use these energies for healing their less fortunate comrades. This symbol refers to a technique which not only can be used for the healing of physical illnesses, but for the making whole of whatever has lost its natural root integration and has not yet reached the holistic state of perfect harmony and identification with the divine whole. Self-discipline, purity of motive, compassion, faith in the divine order are required. And the, in capital letters, focusing of spiritual energy. Let's not forget during these times of artificial intelligence, of drones and robots and electric this and that and the other thing, and all these so-called rapid, transformations. Look at these rocks. Look at these trees. It's, Pluto and soul evolution is a long, slow process. All this mental, computer and web and internet and social media and mainstream media and all that. This is all very rapidly, and you may read headlines, oh my God, this is, a big change and a big change. I mean, we are in a big change. I'm not going to deny that, but It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen in 1 year of 2026. Okay. These transitions take years. This Saturn Neptune here, is a 3-year process of Neptune just changing signs. 25, 26, and 27 is really a new dream being born. Okay, so it starts very deep below the surface, just like a seed. So you may be getting this seed of a new you, and you want to relax your nervous system. Aquarius and Uranus and Mercury rule the nervous system, and this is a time where our brains, Aquarius and Uranus and Mercury rule the brain. Okay, so our brains and our nervous systems are getting like super overly stimulated right now. Being aware of that and conscious of that, and knowing that our left brain lives in the third dimensional world of separation, we need to counteract that and balance that with meditation, the yogi, with, sensing, with our sixth sense and our psychic capacities and our kundalini, that there is a divine order. There are invisible forces beyond our control, besides the bank and besides the government and besides the person in front of me. Let's just say, okay, I have chosen, this particular version of the feminine to relate to right now. And if you're a woman in relationship, you've chosen, that version of the masculine or that version of another feminine, to be in relationship with. Okay, and even people, are archetypal symbols, projections of our own inner masculine or feminine. So, there's a lot of depth to reality, and we don't want to get stuck in the superficial, which is why Western civilization is such a caricature of a true civilization, because it's so superficial, appearance oriented, fast, rapid, problem solving, and get back to your comfort level as fast as you possibly can. Don't sit there in a state of transformation. Oh, no. Get that over with. I mean, yeah. So, there's this huge emphasis on physical, emotional, mental comfort leads to addiction, leads to attachment, leads to a resistance to the evolutionary process, and therefore results in pain. And I'm a little bummed out that, this doesn't rhyme very well today, but I couldn't find a word that rhymes with work. If I'm going to live a bigger life, it's going to take some work. Duh. Not only must I face my fears, but go out into the world. Notice I didn't say, but go out and face the world, like I face my fears and I face the world. It's not just facing the world. It's penetrating the world, right? It's affecting the world. It's going into the world. We're not just asked to remain separate ego beings taking care of our own stuff. That's just one side of the spectrum. That's Taurus and Cancer. And Jupiter in Cancer, it can be tempting to just stay home. But no, we are being called to a bigger life. We're being called out of even Capricorn, okay, into, Aquarius is extraterrestrial intelligence and aliens, and it's not just globalization in society, it's like the universe. So yeah, wow. Think big. Envision big. Be big. We're here to be big. And there's a lot of programming, social, religious, and, family that says, no, don't, be humble, be small, just, work for me, work for the man, work for them, It's like, those days are gone, baby. We got to be self-actualized, individualized. Uranus is our inner genius. Aquarius is our inner genius. Tap into your inner genius and you are going to one more time. Oh, and the song for this week, Any Major Dude. Any major dude will tell you, my friend, any minor world that breaks apart falls together again. When the demon is at your door, in the morning it won't be there no more. Any major dude will tell you. Any major dude will tell you. You like Steely Dan? They're great, man. At least they were great. I don't know where they are now. One more time. Wrap it up, baby. If I'm going to live a bigger life, it's going to take some work. Not only must I face my fear, but go out into the world. Boom! I made it fear instead of fears. Whatever you want. You could have fears. It could be plural. But fear is fear, right? The root of all fear is Pluto, death. That's the root of all fear. I mean, you face that one, right? The death of an identity, the death of a relationship, the death of a job, the death of a position, the death of a family member, whatever. Yeah, that's the root fear. Anyway, I could frickin' talk forever, man. I had some coffee this morning. Namaste. Aloha. So much love. Hope to see you in Europe or the Dominican Republic or wherever.